Big game, big predictions. This is Predicta, your favorite show powered by One Expat and Vimeki. I'm Anant Kaur, ready with all the updates from the third test at the Lords. Day one of the Lords test belonged to one man, Joe Root. The ever-reliable England batter stood tall once again and returned unbeaten on 99, just one run away from his 37th test century. At stumps, England were 251 for 4, with captain Ben Stokes holding firm on 39 not out, and the duo stitched an important 79-run partnership to steady the innings. The day started well for India, with young Nitish Kumar Reddy striking early to remove both the openers. Joe Root and Oli Pope then rebuilt the innings, but Ravindra Jadeja and Jasprit Bumrah struck back to pull India back into the game. Bumrah's clean bowled dismissal of Harry Brook was arguably the moment of the day. However, India suffered a setback too. Keeper Rishabh Pant injured his finger and had to leave the field, replaced by Dhruv Jurel behind the stumps. While wickets didn't come in bunches, Indian bowlers successfully kept England's scoring rate in check. England scored at just 3.02 runs per over, their slowest scoring rate in a day's play since the Bazball era began. All eyes now will be on whether Root can complete the century tomorrow or whether India can claw back into the contest. Of course, the pitch offered turn for Jadeja and there was a lot of seam movement. That's how Jasprit Bumrah, we could see that he could wreak havoc. So what will happen on day two? Let's see, can India get that crucial wickets in the first hour, which will be very important. And now to discuss this, we have our special guest on the show. We have our former Zimbabwe cricketer, John Nyumbu. John, at 3.02 runs per over, England posted their slowest innings rate at home since Bazball began. Is this caution a shift in approach or respect for India's bowling?
Yeah, it was very interesting to see how the English batting group went about their business in this first day of the third test at Lords, because having read about what those wicket could be like, having also heard their coach saying he wanted a bit of pace, he wanted a bit of bounce, and taking into consideration the slope at Lords and the way this informed and confident Indian bowling group has gone about their way, it was very good to see the English batters buckle down and show the benefits of a very good defense. I mean, we saw how Joe Root went about his way. We saw what a batter not trusting his defense leads to. We saw how Zach Crawley kept on walking down the wicket, kept on trying to take the attack to the Indian bowlers, and he fell short. And Joe Root comes in 99 runs, not out later. He's still batting nicely. He's still getting to good positions. He's still playing it ball by ball. So I think it's a very commendable batting display thus far from the English batting group. Also, the Indian bowlers have bowled well.
With Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett falling cheaply again, how worrying is England's continued top-order fragility? And do they need to rethink their batting strategy in the future?
Yeah, with the opening pair of the English batting lineup, I think Zach Crawley is the weakest link. I mean, he's not as consistent as Ben Duckett. I know Ben Duckett didn't score in this innings, but in the past 4 innings, he's actually had a few scores and good scores as well. But for Zach Crawley, he's been under pressure for a while. I know he scored runs against Zimbabwe, but people always say Zimbabwe are minnows. Zimbabwe are not as strong as the Indians, the Australians, or any other of the big teams. And you can see his inconsistencies, because at times he doesn't back his technique. He starts walking down like he did today, trying to get the bowlers off their length, but the Indian bowlers kept on persisting with that. Ben Duckett could say he was a bit unfortunate being strangled down the leg side. Good catch as well. But then for Zach Crawley to be able to just hang his bat out there and nick that ball, I think it shows that he's not in control of his technique. He's batting a little bit outside off stump, playing at balls that are a little bit wide. So if there's a little bit of rethinking, I don't think they'll do it in this tour, but they have to look forward and look ahead at the Australia tour when they play the Ashes. Are they going to go with Zach Crawley again? Are they going to look for someone in the domestic setup who's going to take up that role. We see Dom Sibley has been scoring runs. He scored 300 the last time. I know they said he's not scoring as quickly as they want to, but he's evolved his game, and he's also scoring in the Vitality Plus, so which means it's someone who's gone back and thought his processes, try to score a little bit quicker and scoring runs. So it's going to be interesting how they go about with Zach Crowley vis-a-vis with Dom Sibley scoring runs. But Ben Duckett is a sure one for that slot.
India pacers bowled with tight lines and length, not allowing England to score freely early on. So how effective was India's bowling unit in containing England's aggressive top order, particularly in the first session?
I would like to be a little bit hypercritical of the Indian bowling attack. Yes, they bowled well. Yes, they contained. But I think in the first hour, maybe it was because they were trying to get used to the slope. They tended to bowl a little bit down leg. They might have wanted to play to get the ball straight and make the batters play. But I felt there were a lot of balls that were going down leg from Bumrah, from Siraj, from Akashdeep. But then when they got their lines, that's when they started hitting their straps. But then even though bowling down leg, they were still not being hurt by the English opener, so which allowed them to be able to settle in on a good line in length, despite having not started as accurately as they would have wanted. So I think when they hit those strings, that's when they started being effective. That's when they started beating the bat. That's when they started causing problems. That's when they, after the first strings break, that's when they got the 2 wickets in quick succession. So it was that little bit of pressure that they started to exert after they hit their straps, and it continued the whole day. It continued. Even the spinners came and actually hit their straps early. It was good to see Jadeja spinning the ball. It was good to see Washington Sundar bowling with some nice drift to the lefty, threatening both edges of the bat. So a collective effort from the Indian bowling group to contain the best bowling England batting lineup to 3 runs and over is very commendable, because like you said earlier, the stat says that's the slowest they've scored since May 2022. So for 3 years, they've been going in excess of 4 or 5 runs and over. But today, because of the way the Indian bowling group bowled, they managed to restrict them to 3 runs and over. And on top of that, get the dangerous Harry Brook out. On top of that, get Ben Duckett out, because if those two settle in, they can manage to score quickly and still be at the crease. So they've bowled well. So it will be important that they continue again in the same vein tomorrow morning to ensure that they try and break this current partnership and see how they go about this, especially in the first hour.
Now, let's ask cricket journalist Paul Dennett that Joe Root's steady 50 held England together after early loss of wickets. So how vital is Root's calm, pressure-absorbing presence when others struggle to score freely?
Well, yeah, he's just a star. I remember reading Rod Marsh talking about how when Greg Chappell used to come out to bat, you just got this warm feeling that runs were going to be scored, and he gave this great feeling of comfort to the dressing room. And there's no doubt that that's what Joe Root would do. There just seems an inevitability that when he's batting, runs are going to be scored. He often seems like he's batting on a different surface to the rest. All that extra time he's got, the calmness, that ability to easily pick up the singles, and that classic cliched thing where he hasn't been batting that long and you look up at the scoreboard kind of thinking he's not on that many and suddenly get a surprise to see, oh, he's already 30 or 40 not out, he's away. As a lot of people are saying, he may well be the greatest batter that England has ever produced.
Paul, Jasprit Bumrah, the world #1 test bowler, dismissed Harry Brook, who is the England's top-ranked test batter. So how often do you see #1 bowler getting the better of #1 batter in red ball cricket? And how much can this moment tilt the momentum in India's favour?
Yeah, it's a rare treat and a privilege. And even though, Harry Brook probably doesn't quite have the gravitas attached to his name as some of the other stars, he is certainly a man on the ascendancy, and certainly in years to come, when you look back, if Harry Brook does indeed become a great of the game, that dismissal of Bumrah versus Brook will seem like one for the ages, and it certainly helped England, but there's more to be done, and I think that Bumrah might be the man to break it apart on day 2. I think England are on top, but it potentially could be a Jasprit Bumrah special, get a couple of quick wickets and then go ploughing through the tail to get India right back in this game.
Joe Root and Ben Stokes combined for a resilient partnership that saw England through the evening session, scoring just 79 runs in 28.1 overs. So how vital was this approach in getting England to a formidable total by stumps? And was the approach worth it, as certainly this is not like how they play their baseball?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to say it's worth it because they didn't get out. But I'm sure that Jeffrey Boycott and others of this world are saying that's what, this is what you've been reluctant to do for so long, play proper test cricket. Where was this on day 5 at Edgbaston? That's the thing that really strikes me, that day 5 Edgbaston, they were always probably going to lose. But towards the end, when they're playing extravagant shots, when the win was definitely out of the question, at times when there was only, 30, 35 overs left, there have been instances not that long ago, in the World Test Championship final where Mitchell Starc and Josh Hazlewood batted for basically a whole session. And I thought that was very bizarre, that England needed to take this sort of approach a few days earlier. I find it strange as well that Ben Stokes, the one that is the most ardent evangelist for baseball, has often been the most defensive player with the bat. So it's curious. You'd have to say it worked so far, but they haven't yet done sufficient damage to India to put England in the ascendancy. It's all to play for on the first session of day 2.
And Paul, despite the long partnership, India's bowlers remained disciplined, not giving away too many easy runs and forcing England to graft to their scores. So who were the standout bowlers, according to you, for India in maintaining the pressure throughout the day?
Yeah, I mean, at times there did seem to be a bit of a stalemate where I thought India was sensible, bowling, that 4th stump line. And for once, England weren't tempted. Dinesh Kumar Reddy obviously is going to get some headlines. 2 wickets in an over from him. I didn't have that on my bingo card for this test match. Mohammad Siraj didn't get any wickets. Very miserly, hard to score from. Of course, Bumrah, always hard to score from. And I think the 2 spinners, Sundar and Jadeja, did a pretty decent job of keeping things in check. But it was also partially an attitudinal thing from England. And as I said before, the pitch. I think that for a match that is this much billing, a home of cricket, that the one thing you want is a pitch where there is this sort of stalemate can't occur, where you want freedom for the batters to play through the line and get runs, bit of movement for the bowlers to be able to get wickets. You don't want the alternative. Wimbledon's going on at the moment. If they sort of took a little bit of the pressure out of the balls and reduced the standard of the spectacle, they would never do that. And I think that unwittingly that's what they've done here at Lord's, which is a bit of a pity.
Thank you so much, John, Paul and David, for all your insights and predictions. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We'll be back again on Cricket Predicta, your favorite cricket show.